Hello guys, this is our second lecture of the chapter theory of production course, that is chapter 5 in your economics, and also this is the last chapter. In our first lecture we have discussed 4 point introduction, concept of cost, short and long run, factors of production, fixed cost and variable cost, and also we have seen average fixed cost. Now we will start with the point 6, average variable cost. So guys, as we have seen all these things in our first chapter or first lecture, we will start with average variable cost, that is given below after the average fixed cost. So here uh, we are given average fixed cost that we need to discuss now. Okay, guys. So as we have seen average fixed cost, now we will see average variable cost. Average variable cost is the total variable cost divided by the number of unit produced. So it is exactly opposite of the average fixed cost. In the average fixed cost is the cost total fixed cost which is divided by the number of unit produced. But in the average variable cost, whenever we need to find average, whatever the cost is, we need to divide it with the number of unit produced. So guys, here we are given the formula over here. Average variable cost is equal to total variable cost divided by the number of unit produced. Average variable cost curve falls in the beginning up to the point and then raises sharply after this point. This is so because in the beginning the output of the firm is below its normal capacity, but as the output increases, reaches the normal capacity, the variable cost per unit falls till the point where it is the lowest. But when the output increases beyond the normal capacity of the firm, the variable cost per unit is increases rapidly with the increase in the output. So guys, in the beginning of the time, we can say the average variable cost decreases till the normal capacity, but when company go beyond the normal capacity, its variable cost will be increased. So here it is all about normal capacity point. Now we will see the same thing can also be explained in the terms of law of variable proportion. Up to the point P in the figure 5, it is the law of increasing returns on which in operation. Consequently, average variable cost goes on diminishing up to this point. At the point P, the average variable cost becomes stabilized on the account of the operation of the law of constant returns. But after the point Q, the average variable cost increases sharply because of the production of the law of diminishing return. So guys, the average variable cost generally is U-shaped, but there can be several variation in the shape of this curve. It may, for example, be D-shaped as given in figure 5. So guys, here you can see in the beginning of the time, average variable cost will be decreased as the production increase, and at a normal capacity it will be stabilized. But when a company cross its normal capacity of the production, then the average variable cost will be increased. So guys, here the average variable cost is D-shaped. It is a wide and flat bottom curve. The curve declines up to the point P and then becomes a straight line up to the point Q, and thereafter it raises sharply. In the initial decline in the average variable curve up to P is due to the operation of the law of increasing returns, and the final raise after the point Q is on account of the law of diminishing returns. The stability of the average variable cost curve between P and Q is because of the divisibility and flexibility of the plant of the firm. So it is we can say it is a point of stable, or we can say the normal capacity of the firm. The average variable cost curve also takes the shape of the English letter V as shown in figure 6. So guys, here average variable cost can also be shaped like this, but when can it be possible? Then let's see. As in figure 6, the average variable cost curve declines up to the point Q and then immediately start rising after this point. The decline in the average variable cost up to Q, it is because of operation of the law of increasing returns, and the rise in the average variable cost after Q is because of the operation of the law of diminishing returns. It is however only at the point Q that the firm is able to secure the most efficient utilization of the plant with the result that average variable cost is the lower at this point. So guys, here we need to focus on how the average variable cost curves. So in the beginning of the time, average variable cost will be decreased, but at a certain point it has come to the normal capacity that will be stable. But when you cross the normal capacity of the production, then it will be rapidly increased uh, as the average variable cost. Now guys, we will see the next point, that is average total cost. So let's see what is there in this. The average total cost means it is an addition of fixed cost and variable cost. So in the similar way, average total cost means average variable cost plus average fixed cost. The average total cost, or what is called simply average cost, is the total cost divided by the number of unit produced. Average total cost is the sum of average variable cost and average fixed cost. Thus, average total cost is equal to average fixed cost plus average variable cost. The behavior of the average total cost curve depends upon the behavior of average variable cost curve and average fixed cost curve. In the beginning, when both average variable cost and average fixed cost curves fall, average total cost falls sharply. When average variable cost curve rises but average fixed cost curve falls, the average total cost curve continue to fall, because during this stage the fall in average fixed cost curve is more than the rise in average variable cost. But as output increases further, there is a sharp rise in average variable cost which more than offset the fall in average fixed cost. Thereafter, average total cost curve rises after a point. In other words, the average total cost curve, like the average variable curve, first falls, reaches its minimum, and then rises. The average total cost curve is therefore almost of a U shape. This is illustrated in figure 7. So guys, no need to be confused about all the explanation given in the book. You just need to see the figure given here and need to understand it clearly. So guys, as you know it very well that average fixed cost never increase. As the production rises, as the output increases, average fixed cost will get decreases. But it is not the same about average variable cost. Average variable cost has different kind of shape. In the beginning of the time, average variable cost will also be decreased, but after a certain point or after a normal capacity point, it will start increasing. So when we add average variable cost and average fixed cost, average total cost will be decreased from the beginning point of time, and it will also be decreased after a middle point. Means when an average variable cost started increases, then also every total cost decrease, because the average fixed cost is decreasing. But then also the production is increasing, and average variable cost is also increasing. After certain point, average total cost will also start increasing. So this is what all about the average total cost. Here, average fixed cost, average variable cost, and average total cost indicate average fixed cost, average variable cost, and average total cost respectively, that is AFC, AVC, and ATC. Now guys, we will see point number 8, importance of the distinctions between fixed cost and variable cost. So what is the distinction between fixed cost and variable cost? Let's read what is written here. The distinction between fixed cost and variable cost is of great importance in the theory of value. In the long run, price must cover both fixed cost as well as the variable cost, or else the firm would move out of production. Even in the short run, the firm will try to cover both these costs, but it may not be successful, for the firm under perfect competition has to accept the market price as given. If due to a general fall in demand, the price falls, the firm has two alternatives before it. Either it has to sell at the lower price or close its business. If the firm finds that the fall in price is a temporary phenomenon, it would prefer the first alternative, for the once the business is closed, it might be difficult to restart. The firm would then accept the price which, though lower than the average cost, is greater than average variable cost, because if the price is greater than the average variable cost, total revenue will be greater than the total variable cost. In other words, total revenue would cover the whole of variable cost and part of fixed cost. Hence, in this case, loss to the firm will be less than what it would be when production is completely discontinued. The loss is equal to the total cost when the production is completely discontinued. So guys, this is how the it is a distinction between variable cost and fixed. Okay, so guys, now we will see the next paragraph given over here. Again, it should also be remembered that the distinction between fixed and variable cost is a matter of degree. It depends partly on the policy of the firm and partly on the period of time under the consideration. If, for example, so guys, if you face difficulty in understanding any point, then you just need to focus on the example given here. It will help you to understand the concept very clearly and easily. So, for example, all labor is hired by a firm under a 5-year contract. Wage payment would continue whether the firm produces any output or not. Wages would then be classified as fixed cost. Secondly, the distinction is valid only during the short period. If a sufficiently long period of time is taken into consideration, all cost would become variable cost. Over such a long period, a firm will not only adapt its labor force and its use of raw material to the level of output, but it will also change the size of its plant and other equipment or the size of permanent managerial staff in accordance with expected changes in output. Hence, the Bayman very uh, apply puts in the long run all costs are variable costs. So guys, if we consider only the short run, then some of the variable costs are can be increased or decreased. But if we take an example of long run, so in the long run, all the factors of production are variable. No factor can be considered as a fixed factor. So whether it is a land, whether it is a managerial staff, whether it is a machinery, so all the factors are variable in the long run, and that is what the distinction between variable cost and average cost. Now, guys, we will see the next point, that is marginal cost. What is marginal cost? Marginal cost is a concept in which we get an idea about one single unit which is added to the production and how much cost we get increased. So guys, for example, company is producing 5 units of the production, and now company decided to produce 6 units. So by increasing one single unit in the production, how much cost will be increased? So here the difference of the cost occurred during production of 5 unit to production of 6 unit, that is known as marginal cost. For example, if company produce 5 unit and occurs cost of rupees 20, and now company produce 6 unit and now occurs cost of rupees 23, then that 3 rupees is considered as a marginal cost. So guys, let's see what is marginal cost. The concept of marginal cost occupies an important place in economic theory. Marginal cost is addition to total cost caused by producing one more unit of output. So guys, as I have told you, in the total unit produced, when we add one more unit and when we see the difference between the cost occurred before production and after production is known as marginal cost. In other words, marginal cost is the addition to the total cost of producing n unit instead of n minus 1 unit, where n is given any number. Thus, marginal cost is equal to total cost of n production n minus total cost of n minus 1. So when we produce one more unit of the production, and when we whatever the changes or whatever the difference between the production we get is known as marginal cost. So it should, however, be remembered that the marginal cost is independent of the amount of fixed cost, since fixed costs do not change with output. There are no marginal fixed cost when output is increased in the short run. It is only the variable cost that varies with the output in the short run. Changes in the marginal cost are therefore due to changes in the variable cost. Marginal cost is not affected by the amount of fixed cost. So guys, here you need to focus and you need to note down this sentence, that because this sentence is very important for you and this may be asked in your exam. Like the average cost, marginal cost also falls in the beginning, reach its minimum and then start rising. See figure 8. The fall in the marginal cost in the beginning is because of the operation of the law of the increasing returns, and the rise in marginal cost after a point is because of the operation of law of diminishing return. So guys, here we will see the figure given here, that what will be the figure of marginal cost. So guys, here we can see clearly that in the beginning of the time marginal cost decreases, but it will come at the minimum level point, and after uh, then also when we increased our production, that the marginal cost will get increasing. So here, what is all about the concept of marginal cost? Let's read. The concept of marginal cost is of fundamental importance in the theory of value. This concept, along with the concept of marginal revenue, helps the firm in deciding the size of its output. The firm can earn maximum profit only at the point where the revenue earned from marginal unit is equal to the cost incurred on that unit. In other words, equality of marginal cost and marginal revenue indicates the position of profit maximization and consequently the equilibrium of the firm. We shall discuss this in detail in the next chapter. So guys, there is no next chapter actually in the next topic. So let's see the relation between average cost and marginal cost. Here we need to see the relation. What is the relation between average cost and marginal cost? When aggregate cost is falling, the marginal cost is lower than the average cost. Hence, the marginal cost curve is below the average cost curve. The very first difference, or we can say the very first relation between average cost and marginal cost, then you can see that marginal cost curve is below the average cost curve. Second, when average cost is rising, marginal cost is higher than the average cost, and therefore marginal cost curve is above the average cost. It is about falling and raising. When average cost is falling, marginal cost is below the average cost. And when average cost is raising, marginal cost is above the average cost. Third, when it when it comes to falling, the marginal cost curve falls more rapidly than the average cost curve. And when it comes to rising, marginal cost curve rises more rapidly than the average cost curve. Then fourth point, when average cost is minimum, marginal cost and average cost are equal. At this point, the marginal cost curve cuts the average cost curve from below at the lowest point. So this will be clear from the diagram given below. We will see the diagram over here. See, this is marginal cost, this is average cost. When average cost falling, marginal cost also falling, and it is below the average cost. But when average cost increasing, marginal cost is also increasing and it is above the average cost. And this is the point where marginal cost and average cost is equal. So the relation between average cost and marginal cost can be explained easily with the help of another diagram as well. It can be seen in figure 10 that when marginal cost is above the average cost rises, and that is the marginal cost pulls the average cost upwards. So guys, here the marginal cost and the here this is the marginal cost and this is the average cost. So guys, you can see very clearly that here is the marginal cost and average cost. As the average cost declines, marginal cost also declines, but it will be below the average cost. And as the average cost increases, marginal cost will also increases and it will be above the average cost. So here you can also see in this diagram given here that here we are given marginal cost, average total cost, and average variable cost, and average fixed cost. So four different costs are given here. We will see that. Okay, so on the x-axis, we are given output, and on the y-axis, we are given cost. So you can clearly see, let's see first average fixed cost. So guys, as you know it very well that average fixed cost always be decreasing as the production rises. So there will be no up downs in the average fixed cost. As the production rises, average fixed cost will get decreasing. Now, if we talk about average variable cost, that this curve will also has also been seen by us that as the production increases, average variable cost will get decreasing. But after a certain point, after a normal capacity, it will get increasing. Now, if we talk about average total cost, then this curve has also been seen by us that in the beginning of the time it will get decreasing. After a certain point it will start increasing. So the average total cost curve will be like that. And if we talk about marginal cost, then marginal cost will be low ever from all the average total cost, variable cost, fixed cost. But as the production is increasing, marginal cost will be increasing, and it will end above the all average total cost, average variable cost, and average fixed cost. So the curve of marginal cost will be like this. Now we are given the explanation over here, B and C, and that we already have seen and explained in the diagram. Let us now study the relation between marginal cost and average total cost, average variable cost, and average fixed cost. This is indicated in figure 11. So we already have discussed figure 11. No need to read all these things. We will move further to the next one, that is long run average cost curve. What is long run average cost curve? So guys, let's see. Long run average cost is the long run total cost divided by the level of output. Generally speaking, it can be said that long run average cost curve are U-shaped like the short run cost curve. The only difference, however, is that the long run average cost curve flatter than the short run cost curve. That is, the U shape of the following run cost curve is less pronounced than that of the short run cost curve. Let's see and read further. Here guys, you need to focus on this paragraph because this paragraph consists of all the explanation and all the meanings of long run average cost curve. So guys, let's see the reason why U shape of a long run average cost curve is flatter than the short run curve may be explained in terms of fixed and variable cost. We know that the fixed cost do not have the same importance in the long run period as in the short period. There are few factors which remain fixed in the long period. The fixed factor in fact become variable in factor in the long period, as you know very well that no matter what the fixed factors are, but that will be variable in the long period. In other words, the longer the period under the consideration, the fewer costs are fixed and more costs are variable. So guys, if we talk about long run, then the variable cost is always higher than the fixed cost because almost all factors of production will become variable in the long run. So in the short period, if the output of the firm is reduces, the fixed cost cannot be reduces, with the result that the fixed cost will be spread over the smaller output, raising the average fixed cost of the firm. In the long period, however, fixed cost can be reduced to some extent and therefore the average fixed cost will raise less sharply. Conversely, the average fixed cost will decline less sharply when output is increased in the long period as compared with the short period. This is the reason why U shape of the long run average cost curve is less sharp or less pronounced. And guys, we will read move further to the next paragraph, that is another important explanation why the U shape of the long run average cost curve is less pronounced as compared to short run curve may be given in terms of greater divisibility of the factors of production in the long run. Because guys, in the long run, the factors of production which are remain fixed is less than the variable factors, because in the long run almost all the factors of production are variable. So it will be divided by greater divisibility. In short run, as we have already seen, some of the factors of production like machinery management, etc., are indivisible. They lack the flexibility and cannot be used in different proportion to bring about the changes in the output. But in the long run, these invisible factors become to an extent very visible and can be used in different proportions to bring about changes in the output. So guys, in other words, the indivisible factors do not remain completely invisible in the long run. So guys, the factor that we don't really consider in the short run will be considered in the long run. Now, since in the long run, all the factors of production indivisible or otherwise can be used in varied proportion, it is possible for the firm to change its scale of operation in accordance with the requirement of output. It should be noted that in the short period, it is not possible for the firm to change its scales of operation due to the indivisibility of certain factors of production. But in the long run, it is possible to change the scale of operation to produce smaller or larger output. Each time the scale of operation is changed, and we have to draw a new short run average cost curve of the firm, because the old curve becomes out of date with the changes in the scales of operation. In short run, we have only one average cost curve, but in the long run, we have as many as average cost curve as there are changes in the scales of operation. So guys, this can be illustrated as follows. So guys, you can see in the long run there are many average cost curves. So these are average cost curve, and you can see over here this is a period of time, and this is how the average variable cost curves looks like. So this is what the look of the curves of average variable cost. In the above diagram, we have drawn three short run average cost curves, namely short run average cost, short run average cost, short run average cost. So guys, here we are given short run average cost. There are three different curves of short run average cost, and this is long run average cost, because when we add the period of time of the short runs will become long run average cost. So this is a period of short run, this is a period of short run, this is a period of run. When we uh, put all the data together on a single axis, then it will show us the data of and the situation of long run average cost. So this is all about the short run average cost curve and long run average cost curve. We will see conversely, if the firm reduces its outputs from OB to OA with the existing scales of production, the average cost will be AD. But if the firm has enough time, so guys, here we need to again see the diagram given here in the figure 13. That will also be the same as we have seen. There is a little difference. In the above diagram, short run average cost has lower minimum point at B. So at point B, short run average cost has minimum point. Minimum point means here company will get minimum cost of production. The optimum output of the firm is obtained at point E. And guys, here we can see that at point E, company can get optimum output, because when company produce E or this much production or this much units of the production, company will get very low cost. And when company occurs low cost, the profit margin will be increased automatically. So guys, here in this diagram, we can come to a decision. We can come to the decision that company need to choose this number of unit of the production to get maximum output, or to obtain maximum production factor to get more profit margin in the market. Now, guys, we will see the next paragraph given here. The long run average cost curve is sometimes also referred to as the envelope curve Bcom, because it envelopes all the short run curve. It is also called the normal cost curve or the planning curve of a firm. It is called planning curve because it represents the cost data which are relevant to the firm when it is planning its policy in regard to its scales of operation, output and price over a long period of time. So guys, let's see. It should be clear from the study of the long run average cost curve that for any given output, average cost cannot be higher in the long run than in the short run. The reason for this that any adjustment in the scale of production which is possible in the short run must also be feasible in the long run. On other hand, it is not always possible in the short run to produce a given output in the cheapest possible way. If a different output is to be produced, it is possible to change the amount of all the factors of production in the short run, while in the long run all possible adjustment can be made. It follows from that the short run average cost curve can cut and lie below the long run average cost curve. So we can thus list characteristics of long run average cost as under. So guys, here we are given the characteristics of long run average cost curve that we need to read and understand one by one. Let's see what are given here about the long run average cost. So guys, you need to remember these characteristics. Long run average cost is U-shaped. That is first characteristics. Second, the U shape of long run average cost is less pronounced than that of short run average cost. It is so because advantages which can be realized in the long run are not always realizable in the short run. Moreover, disadvantages then can be got rid of in the long run remain in the short run. So the U shape of long run average cost is less pronounced than that of short run average cost. Now the third characteristics that we are given here is the long run average cost is tangential to all the short run average cost curves. Then long run average cost shows minimum cost of any level of output. Hence, no short run average cost can cut the line below the long run average cost. Now we will see long run average cost is called an envelope curve as it envelopes in its arms many short run average cost. So as you know that when many short run average cost curve combines, then it will become a one long run average cost curve. That's why short long run average cost curve is known as, or we can say it is called as envelope curve. So this can be asked in your exam that which curve is known as an envelope curve. Then you need to know that long run average cost curve. Now we will see further when long run average cost is falling, it touches the descending portion of short run average cost. When it is raising, it touches the ascending portion of short run average cost. Then G, the lowest point where long run average cost touches short run average cost, also its lowest point B in figure 13. We will see figure 13 that it will be at B because when company produces this much of production, it will occurs very low cost. And now we will see next characteristic that we are given over here. The long run average cost is also known as planning curve as it helps management in planning its business operation. So guys, these are the points which conveys us the meaning, or we can say the explanation of or the characteristics of long run average cost. Now we will move further to see the next point, that is long run marginal cost. What is long run marginal cost and how is it curved in the given diagram? So guys, let's see the long run marginal cost curve. The long run marginal cost curve can be derived from the long run average cost curve because the long run marginal cost curve is related to the long run average cost curve in the same way as the short run marginal cost curve is related to short run average cost curve. This is illustrated in the following diagram. So this is how we need to focus on short run marginal cost, short run average cost, short run marginal cost to short run average cost. So short run marginal cost and short run average cost will become long run marginal cost and long run average cost. So guys, when we add many short run marginal cost or short run average cost will become long run marginal cost and long run average cost. So guys, let's see the explanation given below the diagram. In figure 14, the long run marginal cost curve LRMC is derived from a long run average cost curve LRAC. Okay, enveloping a family of short run average and marginal cost curve. Thus, for example, if OA output, OA that is the first timing, first situation, OA. So we were at, for example, if OA output is to be produced in a long run, then it must be produced in the LRAC, that is long run average cost curve at point H, which is tendency point with the short run average cost curve, short run average cost curve 1. At this point, H, the cost is minimum for the output OA corresponding to the tendency point H on short run average cost 1 and long run average cost. There is a point n on the short run marginal cost curve, that is short run marginal cost. This means that an is the relevant short run marginal cost for output OA in the long run. So guys, here this is what the explanation of the above diagram given here. You just need to understand that if we see the short run marginal cost or short run average cost and we get that here the short run or the long run average cost and the short run marginal cost cuts to each other, and we point get n, and here we get point h. So among all these short run marginal cost and short run average cost, we will get the long run marginal cost and long run average cost. And in this diagram, the ultimately preferable point is, that is q, from OQ. When company uses point B or this much of the output, then there will be low cost, whether it is a average cost, marginal cost, average or variable cost, or a fixed cost. So this kind of explanation given here in this explanation, you just need to read it from point to point, and there are multiple advantages and disadvantages of all these situation, whether it is a k, m, q, h, n. So what exactly the situation is, how the point is created, and how what will be the situation at point h or point q will be explained here in this paragraph. You just need to read it out and understand. If you find any difficulty to understand anything, then you just need to comment below the video. In the comment box, I will respond you as soon as possible. Then we also need to solve all the mcqs given at the end of the chapter. Video will be made by me. I need to think the timing. Then I will upload the video at the end of the month, after 25th of the December. So you will get all this, so you will get the solution of all the MCQs given at the end of the chapters and given in your book, so that it will be helpful for you to do the preparation for exam. Now guys, we will move further to see. It will also be seen from the above diagram that the long run marginal cost curve, like the long run average cost curve, is U-shaped. Both are U-shaped. Not only this, the long run marginal cost curve is flatter than the long run marginal cost curve. So the relationship between long run marginal cost curve and the long run average cost curve is the same as between short run marginal cost curve and short run average cost curve. Thus, when the long run marginal cost curve is lies below the long run average cost curve, the latter is falling, and when long run marginal cost curve is lies above the long run average cost curve, the latter is raising. The long run marginal cost curve cuts the long run average cost curve at its lowest point. This is so because the long run marginal cost is equal to the long run average cost when the latter is neither rising nor falling. So guys, that's it for today in this lecture. Now we will continue your chapter from point 13 in the next lecture. Goodbye, and do preparation, as you have left very few days to do the preparation of all the subject for your exam. So all the best guys. Good night. Goodbye.